All right, Stabber Traders, good afternoon and welcome on back to cap off our day, cap off our week, heading into the 4th of July weekend. Great to see you. Hood is still with us here, perhaps Norman as well with the ACCD trade, and perhaps a few more of us, Robert as well. Great to see you all rejoining us live inside the Cyber Group room. For all of us rejoining us back on social media, I hope it is rainy or miserable out where you live, because you should be outside. You should be out there enjoying life, enjoying the sun. It is 94, 95 degrees out by me here, so I was in and out today, just catching some good sun. Going out for a nice run earlier today, actually, as well. So I am back, at least for the meantime. We have the SPY pushing up here heading into the afternoon, so that's pretty nice to have. So hopefully we have a nice trend at least to work with here heading into the close. So, whether it's nice out or not, if you're at your desk, hopefully we do have a nice, close to cap off this week. But, heading into the 4th of July weekend, normally we don't expect, as much volatility, as many big moves out there. With that in mind, SIGA, a familiar name. This thing's been, really nice to us, mostly on the way up, but also this stock has been shortable for those of us on TradeStation, at least. So this has been a great trade both directions across the last month and a half. So, today it's up like 9%, close to 9% right now, trying to make the push over the high off of 1270. So, needless to be said, this looks good. I'll start off with the SIGA here, put this on the main list, right? Robert says, yes, I did some yard work, but he's back right now. Great to have Robert back. And, hey, hopefully you have a lot more trades looking like the SIGA here heading into the close. Not everything is moving upward with the market. My lovely Neo has been actually a really good short here so far heading into the afternoon. Cole's KSS was a pretty good short from earlier today. We're looking to see that make a lower high right now. So, let's see what we can get here, guys. Let's go across the percent gainers and losers lists. We had a bunch of like these cheap little runners that moved up pretty nicely, and not like the cheapies below $1, but like the LYTs, the OMER trade. So we'll cover those at least to begin. So LYT, I just generally said earlier in the trading room as one of my comments or call outs, LYT is just the type of stock to run up and then get halted going down, and that's it. Just like tank, and that's it. So it hasn't gotten halted yet. It ended up running up pretty nicely. It said this had a resistance from 7 from earlier this week, and it had a really tough time breaking above 7, as you can see there. So, just sneaked above it, but then really did nothing off that price. If it's not going to break any higher and make the run that you would expect for it to make, there's only one other run that's left, folks. So, it didn't get halted going down, but a nasty drop-off after it failed to run upward off the 7 level. So, yeah, I mean, they normally drop twice as fast, right? That's normally what the Fausto rule is there. So, LYT, I'll pass on this for the afternoon. Keep it in mind next week, maybe when we get back here on Tuesday. Ron, what beach do you go to? Ron W. Ron and I are both from Long Island, so Ron's in Northport, and I am here in Huntington Station currently. So, Ron, what beach do you go to? It'd be interesting if it's the same one that I go to. All right, I got the OMER. I think this one kind of skipped above the LYT actually as we went from top to bottom. So OMER, hey, this looks great, pushing on up to resistance off of 4. Currently, a couple of orders out there at 399 and at 4. Let's just check the monthly chart here pretty quickly, just to be efficient with time. So this stock looks like it ended up dropping off from like 20 plus, but looks like over the end of last year, heading into the beginning of this, it seemed like it bottomed out around like 550-ish, you can call that. I mean, it's got a ways to go to even get up to there, but if the stars could align, perhaps that could be a really nice top to work off of heading into the afternoon. And if anything, maybe that could be a good setup going into the next week. But either way, right now, this is making a really nice run on the intraday here. Let's just check out this low back from January this year. That's 465, closed at 507. So, either way, if you're just looking at that, it has a little bit of a ways to go, right? Wouldn't be a bad idea here. So, yeah, OMER looks pretty good. Ron says Sunken Meadow. Oh, nice. It's just an extra couple minutes from me. So I'm usually by Steers Beach in Northport. All right. So let's see what else we got here. We skipped over a bunch of these actually. FFIE, CLVS. So let me actually get to these here in a bit. The ACCD, while I'm at it, I mean, Norman had chatted me about this earlier today on the side. He was in it from 890. He got about like 12, 13 cents. Hey, it has a gap fill opportunity, right? So, you wish that this was a lot more volatile, making a much sharper move than it's actually making here, but it's getting the job done, right? So I don't mind putting this on our list here, the ACCD trade, but this does have a pretty nice gap to fill dating back to late April. Bottomed out at 988, closed at 1186, 1106, 1106, that is. So, if you're relating it to the bottom here, 988, it still has like 70, 60 cents worth of room. And then perhaps a lot more if you're kind of just judging it based off that close from that day there. But, either way right now, it looks pretty interesting. The FFIE stock, similar, right? Similar, grinding type of move here. Not as much of a gap fill, but you could see where this topped off around 350, 360 back in early June. So, this could be a good stock to watch actually heading into, the remaining parts of this whole month. I mean, we'll see what happens. But if this is already breaking above, last month's open, pretty interesting. But, right now it's like not making the best move over the last 20, 30 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The ACCD trade piques my interest a little bit more right now. CLVS, not the fastest move, but at least we're familiar with it from the last week or two. This stock has been a potential short squeeze type of stock. So it's getting a little move up back up here. I'll write this down, CLVS, and then the other one, FFIE. I'll come back to both here at the end, kind of keep those two on the side. But Grant saying the CPNG trade, Norman before him, testing 15. So we were going to just get to that here in a bit. The TWOU before that, actually, I'd called out TWOU off of 12. It was like perfect timing. And if I was still at my desk or if I was going to be at my desk throughout the day, this would have been just a gift to jump into as soon as it broke over 12. So it ended up grinding up to 12. It made the initial break, and it only moved up since. So this alongside CLVS, actually, I mean, you could say this with a lot of different stocks, but TWOU is a short squeeze candidate because this thing ended up dropping off from like 98, $100 back in 2018, dropped all the way down over time. And I mean, granted, you don't know how much it's going to squeeze up to, but looking at this stock here on the intraday chart going into the end of a Friday, end of the week, it's exactly where you would want to see it. So TWOU looks good. The CPNG trade probably looks just as good here. Yeah, it's moving on up to that 15 level. This wasn't the one that we had the big print on from earlier, Yehuda. I think that I have to get back to that one. I think that was the ACCD trade, was it? Or was that the FFIE, Yehuda? Either way, CPNG here looking pretty nice on the way up towards 15. This stock looks like a relatively new IPO back from last year. It ended up dropping off from like 60 all the way down to, sub 15, even sub 10, perhaps you could say that is. So, it has some good recovery room in that regard. Yeah, Yehuda says the FFIE. All right, so we'll get back to that FFIE trade at the end. Wasn't looking the best there. It was moving on up, beforehand, but let's see if there's anything else looking just as good. Markets are pretty much at the highs right now, so there should be a lot of things that are, making the respective moves back up to the highs themselves, or just a stock that is running pretty solo or on its own. So NVAX here making a pretty strong move from the market open. Not really looking that great right now. Blue Apron's at the high, but I want to see a little bit more out of this trade before we really focus on it. I feel like this could just dud right back down and pull back. So I'll put this on the side list, come back to this just in a couple of minutes. Let's just get to some side list stocks right now before we jump over to the loser side. Like American Airlines, I saw grinding on up pretty nicely comparative to the other side list stocks from earlier. The airlines, the cruise lines, the casino stocks, or, just any of the other like auto stocks like GM or Ford or NEO. So AAL is looking pretty damn nice here. Jets Airline ETF just pretty much making the same move. So I'm sure the same to be said on UAL, Save. Save was on its own moving up pretty nicely. So, all of the airlines I do like. I'll kind of just put them together here on our list. I'm sure you could say the same with the cruise lines like CCL, CCL, NCLH, etc. But the airlines in particular I do like. So I'll put those on our list. Neo. I was shorting at least from the morning. I ended up leaving some money on the table, but ended up dropping all the way down towards like 21, 20.95. It's not like making the best move right now, so pass on Neo. AMC. It's inching up. Don't get me wrong. It's tradable. If you follow AMC, and if you're already in the stock, you're doing pretty good, I'm sure. Hopefully from like a 1335, 1340-ish. But, I want to see a stock near the highs or near the lows right now at this point in the day. So that's why I was kind of more jumpy to like American Airlines and Save and the rest of the other airlines there. From Mitch on YouTube, he's asking about the KZR trade. It's a bit slow. Yeah, it's moving back on up, right? This ended up getting clipped from late last week, and then from there ended up continuing to drop off, and nice little move back up here today. So don't get me wrong, it looks pretty good. Let's see what else is out there. Bobby says Roblox. We'll kind of just cherry pick the ones that look the best. Nah, Roblox, don't get me wrong, it's tradable. It's moving on up. If you're in already from like 34, 25-ish, again, I'm rooting you on. But there's a lot of stocks that look like Roblox right now. FFIE. So back to FFIE. This had like a huge 190,000 share print that got filled off of 355. And we are hopeful to see continuation at some point, but I don't think we're going to be getting that continuation at any point now. So, it ended up snapping right back down from it. It failed to hold over 350 or around there even. And at this point, this thing is just done. CLVS, it's still kind of hanging in there. Again, this already made a big move from earlier today. So, like I said before on Roblox, there's a lot of stocks that look like this, just kind of inching back on up right now. Apron's at the highs. So out of all this, quote unquote side list stocks, I don't mind putting Blue Apron on our main list right now. The liquidity is actually pretty filled in comparative to, I think, the last time we traded the stock. It was pretty thin. I think earlier this week, one of us had called it out, and it was just on a bit of a spread, thin volume on the book. For a $4 stock, that's bad. You don't want to have that. So, right now it's on a tight spread, 1,000 share orders at most price levels out there on the bid and the ask. So, right now I like it. Norman says CPNG false break over 15. Yep, at first. Got to expect that for as much as it moved up. We always talk about that in class. All right, folks, I think that just about does it here for me. I will remain at least by my computer until 3:30. So we got the airlines. We got SIGA, OMER, ACCD. We got the Blue Apron trade, CPNG, and TWOU. Not a bad watch list, really, heading into 4th of July weekend. You would expect things to be a lot flatter than they really are, but I guess given how much the markets got smashed over the last week and a half, last month and a half, 6 months, I guess we're getting a little action here heading into the end of this week. But, nonetheless, I would start and stick with this watch list right now, folks. And, if there's anything else that's making a big move around 3:15, 3:30 when Rich is on the mic, then we'll look to call it out. We'll look to rescan the markets at that point a lot more seriously. But, right now I would definitely stick with what we have here. All right, for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you folks sticking with me on 4th of July weekend on Friday. So, again, I jokingly say I hope it's rainy and miserable out by you to have you by me here listening to me on a Friday afternoon on 4th of July weekend. But I appreciate you sticking with me as always. Any questions that you have, feel more than free to send over. Josh at CTUtrading.com. Remember, folks, we are closed on Monday, given that is 4th of July itself. Happy 4th of July to all of us that celebrate. Happy Canada Day from all of us earlier. I mentioned that during the morning meeting. Happy Independence Day if you're in a respective country that currently celebrates Independence Day today or this weekend. For Leda, for Grant, for Bill, for all of us just live inside the trading room, happy 4th as well. I will look forward to speaking to you folks just coming up later on Tuesday next week. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.